You're about to watch a video of the presentation that we do. It's a technical presentation. This one was done at North Georgia Technical College, and we do classes for the cosmetology departments and talking about how to take care of their shears and how to select their shears.
Yeah, the proper way to call that is a theory class when you go in there. And it's well received by the teachers. It takes about an hour and a half if you show in shears too. Perfect opportunity to sell shears to students. Also, after they graduate, they go all over the county, and then when you walk in on a cold call, it's a lukewarm call because they know who you are, and they say, "Oh yeah, he went to my school and did a lecture," or "She went to my school and did a lecture." So it's very good, and it's a good way to get into salons you're not in now. We had a student one time who didn't buy anything from us from when she was in school, but while she was working at a good salon that we've been trying to get into, she dropped her shears, her boss's shears, and messed them up. And it happened to be those 5-tooth shears, which are real hard to do. So Bonnie went over there and did that. And that day, I think she sharpened 18 shears or something.
18 or 20.
20, anyway. She did a bunch of money in there. And
it was a long day.
Yeah, it was a long day. And she didn't get there till 2 o'clock, so it was a very long day. And it was all the way across town, but Bonnie said, well, she's a student, she's upset, so I'll go over there and take care of her. And it was a real good thing for us.
It's a huge salon.
Yeah, a huge salon, and we go in there every 2 months, and we do over $1,000 every time we went in there. So with scissor sales and sharpening, rarely sharpened less than 20 shears when we went in there, and it's just. You just don't know what's going to happen with these students when they graduate. Some of them may become big platform artists. We've had some of those do those. We have one of our students that we met at college. She goes all over the world teaching classes because she's bilingual and she speaks Spanish and English, and she goes all over the world teaching classes, and all she carries is basically our shears. And so she's got probably 50 pairs or more shears of ours. And she loves them. So
I guess the bottom line is when you go into schools, you might not make a lot of money that day. A lot of the students don't have a lot of money, and we usually give them a discount on sharpening, discount on the shears, as well as the teachers. You need to give them a discount. But you're planting seeds. You're planting seeds for the future.
And the harvest can be really great. It really can be. With that one student, it was probably 1,000-fold of the money we had invested going over there to the school easily. So schools are important, and you want to make the best of it when you go there. So thank you for watching the video. Hope you enjoy it.
All right, I want to tell you a little bit about us. Bonnie and Gene Megowan is a couple. Been married for, I don't remember numbers. How many years have you been married now, Gene?
48 wonderful years, dear.
48 in July.
48 July.
48 in July. Because I had to wait until I was 20 years old to get married because I didn't want to be a teenage bride. So 48 years. When we get through, we're going to ask questions and we have prizes. And I'll tell you right up front what the questions are going to be. Well, I'm going to make it real easy because the Shears, S-H-E-A-R-S, each letter stands for something you want to look for when you buy that main shear of your business. Then the word spa, those letters stand for what you need to remember on how to take care of your shears. And then the last thing we're going to make sure everybody in here knows that is how to correctly adjust your shears. Because we want to make sure when we leave here, everybody knows how to properly adjust the screw on their shears, okay? And you can take notes, but when you get to the questions, you can't look at your notes.
Unless she's out of the room.
Yeah, I was going to say, you hear that. So,
She was a school teacher. I was the guy sitting on the back row back there sleeping in class, so.
And I was like about where you're sitting on my elbows listening to everything. So we probably wouldn't have liked each other in high school at all. We met in college. And we were at different colleges too. This is a little bit about our company. We're in Loganville. Y'all know where Loganville is? Some of you do. The joke used to be, where's Loganville? This is our office. Our daughter Misty is the one who runs the office and handles all the bookkeeping and tells us where to go and signs our paychecks and gets out the orders and pretty much runs things, huh? And then sometimes you might see some of our grandchildren there. We've got 5 grandchildren.
That's the most important picture you'll see all day.
And they come in and work occasionally when they need money, but we can't get them to do much work, so we have 2 other teenagers that we hired to bring in to count bumpers and count washers and pull our orders and things. So, but we're a family-owned business. Started back in 1988, and my daughter and my son-in-law, my other son-in-law works with us, Gene's brother. So, I mean, it's definitely a family business, but it started out with just me. We are just a little small family business in Loganville, but we are international. We go to a lot of the hair shows. We used to do up to maybe 15 or more shows a year. We've kind of slowed down a little bit. Most of what I'm doing now is sharpening training, and that's my sharpening facilities you see there in the room. And we have people that come from literally all over the world, come to our facilities for training, and then I do online training and YouTube training. But that's what I do, is teach shear sharpening. I'm not a hairstylist. And this was the year before COVID, thank goodness. That's when they invited us over to Germany, and we were able to go to the Jaguar factory. Y'all probably don't know the name Jaguar, but it's the number 1 manufacturer of shears in Europe. A huge facility, and they invited me to come over and work in the factory, and I'm the only authorized Jaguar sharpener in the United States. So any Jaguar shears are supposed to come through me.
Very important to notice is me right here. See all that beautiful hair? This was before COVID. For 2 years we had to lock down and stay with our family, right? This is me today.
Y'all want to know the true story of it? Okay, just before he went, all natural, he's been wearing toupees since you turned 30, right?
Yeah.
Because you were balding. He was pretty well bald at 20. And he started wearing toupees at 30 because he looked 50 years old. And my daughter's dog got a hold of his toupee and swallowed half of it. His dog died now. He kept swallowing stuff he shouldn't. And it was like 2 weeks afterwards he was in that bad car wreck, and his toupee went flying off. And we had brand new toupee, and we had to explain to the police why we had to get into his wrecked car because they had it impounded because it was such a bad accident. And we got his toupee back, but you've never put it back on.
No, I just figured I got used to going without it, and I just said heck with it.
But we got to keep hats now.
Yeah.
He's got a whole stack of hats, and old enough now. Now I was the only one that was in the facilities to be trained. These other guys that you see with me, those are sharpeners in Europe. We had Denmark, UK, and Portugal and Spain down there at the far corner. And they were able to come in and take a tour of the facility, but I was the only one that they were actually teaching and showing me all the things there in the training. So that was quite an experience, wasn't it, Jane?
Mm-hmm.
And you see the book in my hand. That's one of the 2 books that I've published. My first one was DIY Shear Care, and then I have this one, Sharpening Hair Scissors. Use the word hair scissors instead of shears because of SEO, search engine optimization, and because most people say scissors over shears, but there is a difference between the 2. I'll talk about that in a minute. Now, these are some of the people that use our shears. Do y'all recognize anybody up here at all? A lot of people recognize Derek J. Y'all seen him on TV or anything? Have they watched the movie Good Hair in here yet? They have?
Yeah.
Oh, is this something you show in here? Yeah, okay. Spoiler alert. Derek J wins the big contest in that movie. It's a comedy documentary with Chris Rock. It's very entertaining. And Derek J wins the contest. And when he wins the contest, he's actually using one of our shears up on stage. I'm in the movie. You got to look close. I'm standing like this, watching Leo Watson up on stage cutting hair. It's kind of, got to look close.
It really was the pivotal part of the movie, but the Academy Award people didn't give her any nomination or anything.
Right over. And I've got a friend that votes in the Academy Awards.
That's right, you do.
Yeah. So, but anyway, Derek J is one of the people you might recognize. We met him when he was 3 years out of cosmetology school. He's from Ohio originally, and we were at a hair show in Memphis. and he bought our ProMaster shear, and same price, I think.
Yep, $198 then, it's $198
Yeah,
now.
still is. And he bought a ProMaster shear, his first good pair of shears. He won 3 contests that day and won, how much was it?
Won $18,000. He won a $10,000 contest, a $5,000 contest, and a $3,000 contest. So he came out real smelling like a rose. There was only 3 contests, he won all 3 of them.
And he'll tell you that's the day his career just took off. So a lot of times he'll do classes for me. We haven't since COVID, but I think we'll try to get him to do some more haircutting classes for us. And he does it as a favor because he appreciates our little family, because I can't pay his day rate, that's for sure. Some of the other people you see up here, Christina Carcillo, we met her while she was in cosmetology school. Her mother was a cosmetologist. In fact, I knew her mother before I even knew Christina at Sharpening. And when Christina got out of high school, she wanted to become a cosmetologist. And her mother said, no, you're not doing what I do. She went off to school, became an accountant, didn't like it, paid her own way back to cosmetology school. And when we met her in cosmetology school, when her friends were out smoking cigarettes, taking a break, she was watching, back then it was VHS videos of haircutting and studying her craft. And now I think she charges like $150 a haircut, but she is a curly hair specialist. And last week she sent me her shears to sharpen. She sent me 20 pairs in a bag. That's not all her shears. And some very, very unique shears. But she travels the world because she's Latino. She's from Colombia originally. So being bilingual, it gives her a real advantage, and she's able to teach, all over the world, Europe and South America. Some of the other people up here, you heard me mention I knew somebody who could vote for the Academy Awards, Max Kavanaugh. If you're taking notes, I would write it down and write down askmags.com. That's her website. It has more information like drawing extensions for the hair color, for highlights, where to, different patterns for highlights, different things about the chemicals that's in shampoos, color. It's got more information than you'd ever want to read on her website. You'll see some of the pictures I show in here are pictures I've gotten from Mags. One of the most educated people I know, and she's also has been in a lot of movies too. She's got her name from Burt Reynolds because she was doing a stunt thing, driving a car, and she drove so fast. He asked, "What's that little gal's name?" They say Margaret Kavanaugh. He said, "Oh, that's Mags." Any of y'all seen Star Wars, the first one? She is the stunt double for Leia. And so she's done a lot of movies like that. 2 other people I'll mention. Yancey Edwards, I just talked to him last week. He travels all over. He's working on some TV show. You see him here with Whoopi. He was nominated for an Emmy. And Frances London DeBoe, she's just about retired now. I think she may work 1 or 2 days a week. But she's the most published stylist in America. Her pictures are in more magazines, still showing up in magazines. It's like her haircuts are timeless. But all these people are people who bought our shears. We're not like some companies that like to brag about who uses their shears and just gives it to famous people. These are all people that bought our shears, fell in love with our shears, and we started working with them, started doing classes. And I've got a lot of others. A lot of them call us mom and pop. I guess Frances doesn't because we're not old enough.
No,
she's older than us. But.
She's about 20 years older than we are. So.
Yeah, but those are some of the people that use our shears and part of our family. But I told you, I kind of use the word scissors and shears interchangeably. Like I told you, my book says scissors. Is there a difference between shears and scissors?
Yes.
Yes. What's the difference?
Shears are specifically meant for cutting hair, and scissors are they have multiple purposes that aren't really meant for hair.
Okay, you can tell she's a front row one, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I like the answer.
Usually they say scissors cut hair, I cut paper, and shears cut
but
hair.
I like.
But you went more detail, so that's good.
If you go to the dictionary, though, the dictionary is wrong. Dictionary says shears are longer than 6 inches and scissors are shorter than 6 inches, and that shears you put more than 1 finger in. You have like something like this would be a shear. But if you're in the United States and you're using quality tools for cutting hair, we call them shears. That probably started about when we went with the convex edge, just to kind of designate. I really don't know how,
And the
who
Japanese.
first started calling them
Asian
shears
first
instead of
shears.
scissors. However, in England, Australia, New Zealand, they still call them scissors over there. And if you see some of your textbooks that's written for the UK and the USA, that a lot of them will say scissors. And that's why on my book I use the word scissors, because we have a lot of followers in the British Commonwealth countries. And just along that same line, let's say somebody sits in your chair and you listen to their accent. You think, I don't know if they're English or Australian or South African or what that accent is, but you think maybe they might be English or Australian or something. Be careful with your terminology. For instance, what do y'all call these? Bangs. Don't use the word bangs. Don't ask them if they like bangs, or if they've ever had bangs, or they want long bangs, short bangs. Bangs have a sexual connotation. You want to use the word fringe. We were at a school over in Beaufort, and I was telling that, and I mean, I think it's funny. You know, y'all heard a few of you chuckle, but this girl, I mean, literally, she fell out of her chair laughing, and I said, I know it was funny, and she says, you don't understand, I'm from Australia. She says, and anytime somebody talks about bangs, she says, that's exactly where my mind goes. So, and another one we talk about too is someone asks for a perm. If they're African American, let's say you ask for a perm, you're wanting your hair straight. Where if I go in for a perm, I want mine curly. Now, this is one of the pictures I got from Max. This is hair under electron microscope that's been cut with dull tools, dull shears or dull scissors. And you see how the ends are chewed up? If you cut with tools that aren't sharp, the main reason you want to have good shears and you want to keep them sharp is the health of your client's hair. If you're cutting your clients, you're cutting your family members with something that's dull, you're going to chew the ends. And what happens, if y'all studied this so far, what happens when the ends of the hair gets chewed?
Breaks off.
Well, hopefully it breaks off, but worse than that, it usually just unravels and you get split ends. It's just like if you got a piece of yarn and it unravels and it just unravels and unravels. And sometimes people's hair won't grow because they haven't had a good haircut. Those dead ends are, well, all the hair is dead, none of it's alive, but the frayed ends haven't been cut off and haven't been cut off with something nice and clean and sharp. And that goes for not only natural hair, that also goes for hair extensions. You see a lot of people with hair extensions, they've worn a little while and they just look matted at the ends. It's because they haven't been cut with some nice, crisp, clean cutting shears. So that's the main, and this poor lady over here, she thinks she's got long hair, and she doesn't. You see her hair, whenever Derek does a class for us, the hair show or something, he won't bring a model. He'll find somebody out in the audience that has hair like that on purpose. And then he brings them up and he'll put a piece of paper, you put a piece of white paper behind their hair and show your client, say, okay, where I don't see the paper, that's where we need to cut. Because beyond that, it's just split ends and you're not going to have your hair grow, you're not going to get the length. So explaining to them why a haircut is going to make their hair longer and healthier and grow is sometimes difficult to do, but it doesn't work unless your shears are sharp and you got quality shears. So you're professionals now. So you want to buy all your tools and all your products on a professional level. And that's whether it's shampoo or clippers or blow dryers or any of that. So you want to buy professional. You don't want to be buying stuff kitchen stylists are using. Can't tell you how many times somebody comes by our shop and they want their clipper, because we do sharpen clipper blades too. And I train on that, but they'll bring their clippers by to be sharpened, their clipper blades, and they've got something cheap from Walmart. I'm like, go get you some better clippers. You want to buy something based on the type of cutting you're doing. Now here in Gainesville, I know there's a senior citizen area, and they have a cute little hair salon inside there, and the lady loves working in there. And all she has is little old lady and little old men coming in. And she shampoos her hair, they're fine hair, We only have to go sharpen her shears maybe once every 2 years. And she doesn't have to buy really high quality steel because it's just the way she's using the shears. Now, if you go to work at a hair cuttery or you're going to be doing a lot of hair cutting, great clips, super cuts where you're doing one haircut after the other, not always freshly shampooed hair, sometimes the hair is dry, you may want to have a little better quality shear than someone who's just maybe working at a kid's cuts. Does that make sense? So have an idea. This is the main money-making tool in your business. Whatever your business is, I mean, you need to invest in your tools. And this is your number one money-making. If you took your tools, the price of a pair of shears, and figured you're going to keep it for 10 years, 15 or 20 or whatever, figure out how much you make per haircut, and divide it up how many pennies that shear costs you per haircut, I mean, it would be almost minuscule, wouldn't it? The last thing you want to look at is your cutting personality. I was never a hairstylist. I used to be a high school science teacher. Can y'all tell? Once a teacher, always a teacher. And I taught biology and I taught chemistry and some earth science and a little bit of everything. But I watch people cut hair because I don't do that. You're an artist. And I notice people fall in one of 3 categories. And I called them the eagle, the lion, and the gorilla. Now your teacher is an eagle. I know she's an eagle because when she brings me her shears, they're just a little bit dull. They've been taken care of. She's been wiping them off and oiling them. Eagles, I call them eagles because when they cut hair, you tell me if this is the way she cuts. She has her body in a good position, her elbows out, she's doing clean partings. She can give the same haircut time after time again because her body is in the same position. She was talking to me today about having a cutting chair, a cutting stool. Yeah, I've only seen eagles use cutting stools where they can get that real precise haircut, sit down. You see a lot of eagles in the motion, doing the movies and the TV shows and this kind of thing because they can give the movie star or whoever the same exact haircut each time. So if they're filming something at different times, they can make their hair look exactly the same. They don't own a lot of shears, but what they have, they take care of it, and their station's organized, everything's neat, the floor is swept. The gorilla. My friend Derek J will tell you he's a gorilla. Gorillas cut very fast, very passionate. They have to have somebody else come in and sweep up the hair because they're not going to stop to sweep hair. They're just going on to the next client. They're not worried about body positioning. They're not worrying about how they hold the shears. They buy a lot of shears. Derek's bought a lot of shears from us over the years, but he doesn't own a lot because he's always getting them lost or stolen or leaving them behind somewhere. They're most of your new styles are coming from gorillas because they think outside the box. They think design something. It's almost like a sculpture, something for that day. And then the lion, my friend Christina Carcillo, the one with the curly hair, she's a lion. She sent me 20 shears, and she has probably at least that many more, or twice that many.
She's probably got 60.
Yeah, she's probably got 60 shears. Lions will watch what the gorillas do, work with it till they can repeat it, make it their own. They buy a lot of tools, a lot of gizmos. They love to, they're very brave. That's why I call them a lion. And the lions will cut faster than the eagle, but maybe not as fast as the gorilla. Their station will be maybe an unorganized mess, but they know where everything is. So when I go over and see Christina, she'll open the drawer and she'll say, Bonnie, just go through there and whatever needs sharpening, sharpen it. And they'll just be all jumbled in there. And you just about cut yourself getting them out of there. But they're all in one drawer. She hasn't lost any. I think she still has the ones from cosmetology school.
Probably.
But that's the line. So any of y'all want to own salons one day? A few of you brave souls, y'all must be lions. If you own a salon one day, notice these personalities and make sure you put a lion between the eagle and the gorilla. Because the gorilla can't find their water bottle or their comb or whatever, and they just reach over the next station and borrow it, and then they lose it, and you're going to have feathers flying. Good. I know you're just baby, so your personality hasn't formed, but you may be leaning toward this or that. if you're gorilla, you're probably struggling in class and struggling in school because the whole 45 degrees and all of this stuff. You've got to learn all that to pass the state board. But I don't see that holding people back as far as the money they earn once they get out there. Does that make sense? And understanding your personality, even when you go to buy shears, if you tell us, I'm pretty sure I'm an eagle. I know to sit back and relax, and you're going to try each shear and cut with each one until you find just the right one. And the lion is going to be whatever is the newest thing out here. So it helps us to know your personality. And when you go to buy your shears, I tell people it's sort of like, now like Christina told you, she sent me 20 shears. She's probably got 60 or 80. But there's always that one special one that she picks up and does most of her cutting. And I can tell because it's usually the dullest. But there'll always be that one shear that you're going to do most of the cutting with and that's going to feel the best to you. But it's sort of like an artist with their paintbrushes. My hobby is painting, and I have like a fan brush, and then I have a filbert, and I got a right angle brush. But there's one brush that I like to do most of my painting with. That's what we're talking about, picking out those shears, what we're going to be going through today. Any of y'all watch Harry Potter, read the books or see the movies? I'm a big Harry Potter fan. I've watched the movies twice and read all the books. And I think my favorite part of Harry Potter is when he gets his wand and how they say the wand chooses the wizard, not the wizard chooses the wand. It's sort of like that with shears. One size does not fit all. And you really need to pick them up and cut with them and hold them and see what works in your hand, what feels right. Because obviously what would feel right in Gene's hand,
Especially now.
yeah, wouldn't feel right in my hand.
I can't close my hand.
And so some companies, they have like one style of shear, one style of handles, and that's just not a realistic thing. Now I'm going to take the letters in the word shears, and I'm going to start with the S, and the S stands for steel. The steel is going to determine how long those shears are going to last for you, and also determines how sharp or thin an edge I can put on it. So steel is always going to be iron and carbon. This is part of what I taught in high school at a JP. And why in the world do you need to know that steel is iron and carbon? Because we have heard salesmen say steel is 100% cobalt. Or you'll hear them say our steel is all titanium steel. Well, it can't be. Steel's always iron and carbon. We picked up a brochure one time that said our steel will never rust because there's no iron in it. Mm-hmm. Well, that's stupid. It wouldn't be steel. Mm-hmm. Now, 440C is a high carbon steel. A high carbon steel is going to be stronger than a lower carbon steel. And we suggest that your entry level should be at least a 440C. And the 440C steel, really, as a sharpener and what I see people using, it holds up really well unless you're using like the fishbone where you're doing a lot of razoring or some of the very high-end shears for sliding. But the 440C seems to be pretty good. Now to the steel, y'all remember this from chemistry? Alloys? Y'all hoping you'd never have to hear chemistry stuff again? Yeah? Any of y'all love chemistry? Nobody.
I love chemistry. I love to go in the back and play with all the chemicals and mix them together. I used to put magnesium strips in nitric acid, and the screen smoke would come up. It was poisonous.
You're going to have fun when you get to the color portion with them if none of them are chemists, yeah. So, but to the steel are added alloys. And the alloys that we see most likely today, number one is chromium. Chromium is what makes it stainless steel. Chromium will make the steel a little bit harder, and it has to react to oxygen in the air to keep the shears to help prevent rust. And all the shears that I've seen sold in America today are stainless steel. I'm seeing a few up from Europe.
Yeah, 20 years ago, there was a company making nickel-based shears, but they're not doing that anymore.
Yeah. Then there's you'll see kind of designer steels, the best way to explain it, like VG1, VG10, ATS 314. There's different types of steels. They might have some of the heavy metals in them. this makes them more expensive, it also makes them stronger. So you have to decide whether that extra expense is something that's going to be beneficial to you or not. But it does make the steel a little bit stronger. Once they make the steel, make the shears, there's a tempering that goes on. They take the steel, they take it at very high temperatures, very low temperatures. They back and forth. I don't know all the numbers, and it depends on where the steel's coming from. But the measurement of how hard it is done with this machine over here, which tests the Rockwell hardness. And it actually pushes a diamond into the steel. And the amount of pressure it takes to push the diamond in the steel tells you the Rockwell hardness. Now we suggest something between 58 and 62 Rockwell. This is something you can ask your salesman. Say, do you know what the Rockwell hardness of these shears are? So those designer steels I was talking about, like the ATS 314, the BG10, BG1, are going to be a little higher Rockwell. If the Rockwell gets too high, if it's too hard, they become brittle. So you could drop them on the floor, they could break. Cut dirty hair and get nicks in them. 58 is going to dull out faster because it's a softer metal. So that's one of the questions you can ask the salesman. Now, these are pictures of some factories that make shears. This is in Taiwan. This is one of the ones that makes our shears. I need to update that picture, but they make our fishbone and a few of our other shears. My shears are primarily, even if they're Japanese steel, they're going to be finished in Taiwan, South Korea, or mainland China. This is Pakistan. And if you Google scissor manufacturing in Pakistan, this is the kind of picture you'll see. And so far, I have not seen any Pakistan scissors that are quality that I can use for training sharpeners. Now, I think they're turning out a few from Pakistan. They're a little better quality. But the problem is they won't stamp them made in Pakistan. They'll stamp them made in Germany or made in Japan or something. But they might be making shears today and making cuticle nippers tomorrow and making something else the next day. The cost of labor is different from different countries.
Yeah, now we don't have any shears made in Pakistan. Our
No.
cases come from Pakistan, so if you see something that says Pakistan on it, it's a case.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's been shears from time to time made in the United States. I get one that's from the United States I use for my sharpening training. But in general, when they have factories to make shears, there's so much handwork in it. Those guys can leave and go out on their own and sharpen shears in the salons once they learn that skill and make so much more money. It's hard for them to keep good factory workers and pay them at a competitive price compared to China or Korea or Taiwan. So that's kind of some of these factories, what they do is no one knows, that's why we saw in Germany, that no one knows all the steps to the manufacturing. This one does only this one does only that, and so it keeps them from going out and competing with the factory. But these are, used to you could pick up a pair of shears, look and see where it's from, and it told you a lot. Now, even looking at the name doesn't tell you a lot. These are some counterfeit. Now, I know y'all don't know brand name shears, but there are counterfeit brand name shears out there. These are three that I know of. This one at the far end is a Casio. Now, Casio is made in Japan, and they're higher end shear, and I sharpen them. And this was given to me by a teacher. And as soon as I looked at it, I knew it wasn't a Casio, because Casios, all of theirs are really plain Janes. I mean, just nothing fancy, no little dragons or anything on the handles or anything. And I asked the teacher, I said, where did you get these? And she said, wish.com, paid $89 for them. Be careful ordering online. I just ordered, when it was last June, I ordered a Milwaukee brand screwdriver, electric screwdriver. And it broke. It's got a 5-year warranty on it. So I called up Milwaukee, my screwdriver broke. And I said, I bought it on Amazon. And they laughed. And they said, well, we don't know that it's ours, because that's not one of our distributors. And the person that sold it on Amazon is not one of our distributors. So there's no warranty on it. Even if you're buying off Amazon, you cannot be guaranteed you're buying authentic, whatever the brand name of shears is on. Now, little plug for Salon Centric. Our shears are sold on Salon Centric, and they're also sold on our website. You can rest assured that you're buying authentic. But if someone comes into your salon and they've got a variety of shears and different brand names, you can always pick up your cell phone and look and see if they are an authorized distributor. We had one company we knew, they used to sell their seconds to Mexico, and then people would go down to Mexico, buy their seconds, and bring them back and sell them. So just be wise consumers. And that especially goes for shampoos and things like that, because those are always getting misdirected, and we're finding out, they're but yeah, they're making the knockoff shears. And, if you have a knockoff purse, somebody might be impressed with that. I was going to buy, I didn't tell Gene, I ordered a designer purse last night. I saw it on Amazon, and I thought, I better not. I ordered it directly from the company. And not a real expensive designer purse. I love fanny packs. This was a Lululemon. Oh, you know what Lululemon is? Okay, well then I guess I picked right, huh?
Yes.
Lululemon, they call them body bags, not fanny packs. Australia, they call them bum bags.
Oh, I wouldn't mind getting you a body bag.
Yeah. But anyway, just be wise consumers. Let me go on. All right, we're going to have a vote in here. Raise your hand if you like the pretty colored shears. What, about half of them, Jane? About half of them? Did y'all notice I didn't raise my hand? And you notice he did?
Reason being, I like pretty things, and she married me. So.
We work together in business. We're together 24/7. And about the only time we're separated when we go
The restroom.
the restrooms when we're at the restaurants.
Yep.
But this was the biggest argument we had in the business. He wanted the pretty colored shears, and I didn't. And you see, he won the argument. Now, his background is sales. He's our national sales manager and handles all the sales, especially the people that buy shears from us wholesale, the sharpeners, and he works for them. Me, I'm about teaching sharpening and good quality steel. I don't care who makes the shears. I don't care what the quality is. When that color is put on it, the quality of the Rockwell comes down a little bit. Not a whole lot, but just a little bit. And you see, Gene won the argument because he said if we had the pretty colored shears, all our shears would sell better just because they're more colorful. And I guess he's right. And even I told the morning class the same thing. And what we had, like 3 of them bought some of the colored shears. But I just want
We had 4 bi-colored shears.
4 bi-colored.
We sold 8 shears and 4 of them were colored.
Yeah. So buy them because they're pretty. And you're in a beauty industry, so pretty's not a bad thing. That's why I wear flats and don't wear heels, because I'm more interested in the longevity of my body, I guess. But salesmen will tell you, oh, these are titanium. Titanium's what they built the space shuttle out of. The titanium in the steel is going to make them last longer or sharper. No. If you look on the edge where it's cutting, it's still silver. You're still cutting with that 440C steel underneath. So the color is put there to be pretty. Now, if you have some nickel allergies, some people are really highly allergic to different types of metals, and that coating will help with that. If you're one of those that have problems with, where you can't wear earrings or something, you have to wear the really good earrings, or you just tell your boyfriend that. But don't get them because a salesman told you they're better.
Nothing wrong with buying something because it's pretty. Way back when, she married me because I was so doggone pretty, but this is what pretty turns into. And you just got to be aware of that.
Hey, no, I believe in longevity and strength.
Yeah. That automobile
That automobile accident,
that one, that too, yeah.
I took care of that one, didn't it? Scoot over a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm going to turn it over to Gene, and I've got some shears to sharpen while he's talking.
All right, S is for steel, H is for handles. Now, steel will tell you how long your shears are going to last. Handles will tell you how long you're going to last. Because if you get the right handle, it's going to fit your body and you're going to go longer in the business. People do not get out of the cosmetology industry for the most part because they don't want to do hair anymore. They get out of it because their body's breaking down. Their back's bothering them, their legs bothering them, their wrist is bothering them, they got carpal tunnel, all those things. And the handle can help you with carpal tunnel. Now raise your hand, and I want you to take your thumb and hit your ring finger. Okay, now feel how much tightness there is in your hand. Then go to your middle finger, and then go to your pointer finger. See, when you get to your pointer finger, there's very little stress in your hand. Now this is a straight handle shear, this is an offset handle shear, and this is a twister handle shear. So the closer you get to this, the less stress is in your hand. So the less stress, the easier it is to cut longer and things like that. So the proper handle will help you from cutting yourself. It'll help you with carpal tunnel syndrome, arthritis, cutting fatigue, and just out and out pain. Now I've had carpal tunnel surgery. That was part of my, Bonnie will tell you it's from me having the remote control of the TV. But it was actually, I broke my hand in the accident, and I couldn't close it, so they were trying to fix it so it would close. And they did carpal tunnel surgery on me, and it's not pleasant, so you don't want to do it. It usually lays you up about 6 weeks, I think, as a hairdresser. But so handles are very important. They can add to your career or take away from your career. Most ladies are 5 to 5.5. Some of them are getting up to 6 now, and most men are 5.5 or 6. And size matters when you're dealing with shears because it balances the shear. And this is how you tell how to balance a shear. You take the shear and you put it in your hand, come down from the middle finger, drop it down like that, and when you feel the stress there, you stop, and you want the shear to be somewhere in this top digit, like this shear is. This is a 6-inch shear. That's the right size for me. If it's too long, it's going to be top heavy, and if it's too short, you're going to have to bring it down. And it's not balanced. Anything like if your tires aren't balanced on your car, it's not as good a ride as if they're balanced. So same thing with the shear. Opening, closing, you want it to be balanced. Okay, these are the different type of handles I was talking about earlier. The straight handle, that's this. Offset is this, and this is the twister or swivel. So that helps you decide what you want to do. Now, if you're having any trouble with your hands, the twister is probably the best thing for you to use. Now, if you have a family history of arthritis or carpal tunnel, again, the twister might be the thing to use. Lefties, any lefties in the group? One lefty? 2 lefties, okay. We didn't have any in the first period, so 2 lefties. Just, you have to know, see all these shears right here? I've got 10 of these down here. Those are for right-handed people. This is for you. we have about 110 shears here, and 11 of them are lefties. So that's 10% of the population is left-handed, 10% of our shears are left-handed. You don't have the selection. Are y'all using left-handed shears now? No? You're left-handed too? Oh, I missed you, I'm sorry. Left-handed, okay. If you're using right-handed shears in your left hand? Okay. If you're gonna do that, half the left-handed stylists do that. They use right-handed shears in their left hand. But in order for you to make it cut, you have to pull it in a little bit. It's called a crab grip. So you put pressure on the side pressure on the shears to make it cut. If you didn't put the side pressure on it, it would fold the hair. And probably y'all haven't been doing it that long, so you probably can cut with left-handed shears. If someone's been in the industry about 10, 15 years and been cutting with right-handed shears in their left hand, they come out to buy a left-handed shear, they can't use it because it folds the hair. They put that crab grip on it and they actually pull the blades apart instead of pushing them together, and it folds the hair. Left-handed people have to try the shears out you're using. You can't just say, well, I like that one. My person next to me liked it, so I'll buy that too. You have to actually try it out because unfortunately left-handed people can't even use all the left-handed shears. Some of the left-handed shears aren't right for their hand and they don't cut right for them. So you have to check them out. Right-handed people can pretty much adjust all the right-handed shears, but left-handed people are a little bit, y'all special, right? Left-handed people are special, right? I had a left-handed daughter, so I had a special daughter. So, but left-handed shears are backwards. They cut funny. Now, one of the things left-handed people who use right-handed shears in their left hand have a problem with is any shears with teeth. Because you're putting that crab grip on it and then you bring those blades together and sometimes the teeth will cut into the blade. So you have to watch that. especially if you got wide teeth. Normally you can use a regular thinning shear, but if you get a notching shear or something like that, usually you'll cut into it. So just be aware of that. Edges. S is for steel, H is for handles, E is for edges. There are three basic types of edges. You got the beveled edge, the semi-convex edge, and the convex edge. The beveled edge is like a rooftop. You can see the edge, it's very plain to see, it's there. They were made famous by the Germans, and the Germans cut hair usually dirty and dry. So when I was a kid growing up and I'd go to the barber shop, they wouldn't shampoo my hair or anything, they just cut it dry and dirty. And I might have been cutting the yard before I went there, so my head's all sweaty and everything like that, and they go straight to cutting it. That's the worst thing you can do for your shears. Best thing is cutting wet head, clean hair wet, then it's clean hair dry, then it's dirty hair wet, and then dirty hair dry is the worst thing you can do to your shears. Okay, they're less sharp, they're less likely to push because they have more microscopic little indentations in the blade, so it grabs the hair a little bit. They go longer between sharpenings because you don't notice they're dull because they were dull when you started cutting with them. And some have serrated edges. You see the serrated edges right there, and that really tamps it down so it doesn't push hair at all. Now your semi-convex shears, most of your colored shears are going to be semi-convex edges. When we sharpen a convex edge shear, we have to put it on the wheel and roll it like this. And if we were to do that to your colored shears, we would take color off half the blade. So we have to put a little semi-convex edge or a little bevel on the edge. And they aren't quite as sharp as a convex edge shear. You can slide cut with them, but they'll go dull a little faster, and then you won't be able to slide cut with them. But most sharpeners out there have a machine. It's a grinding machine, and they can do beveled edges, and then they can do semi-convex edges. But most of your shears today are convex edges. Well, this will show you the difference between the way a hair looks when you cut it with a beveled edge and cut it with a convex edge. The beveled edge, you see the little craters in there, the little fissures going through there. They're deeper. Convex edge, you can hardly see the little caverns or anything. That's the start of your split ends. Eventually, those will get wider and wider, and then they'll split out. When it's smoother like this, there's nothing to split. So, A is for alignment. Your shears are actually curved like this on the inside. You hold them up to the light and get them just right. You'll see the light shine between the blades, except for at the tip and under the pivot screw. And they're designed to do that. That's a way for the blade to come down and just touch it one place as it cuts the hair, and also it allows the hair to fall through the blades too. If your shear goes out of alignment, it'll become dull in one place, so it might fold the hair, cutting to fold the hair, or it gets out of alignment at the tip. The tips won't cut, things like that, and you have to get them sharpened more often. Now that can be fixed. You can bend them back and get them back correct the alignment, but most people who come to your salons don't have the proper tools to do it. They say they can do it, and they'll do it for you, but I'll show you what it looks like. At the factory, when they're going through, they check the alignment, and this is what they use. They use a parallel bar to check the alignment. They push down at the pivot screw, then they hold it up to a light, and they don't want to see any light come through. They don't see any light, they know that the alignment is correct, so they send it on down the road. If it's incorrect, and it doesn't pass quality control, they send it to a special department, and then they put the alignment back in there. And this is how they do that. They use a hammer, and then they have a special anvil they use. But you notice there's some broken shears in there. At the factory, they break 3% of the shears that they work on. And they know every single thing there is to know about that shear. They know the Rockwell hardness, they know what it's made out of, what add-ons are in there, additives are in there, and everything. And they break 3%. If you give it to a sharpener and he does it, it goes up. CNC technology is all computer done. Everybody brags about handmade shears and all that kind of stuff, but a computer is more accurate. Sometimes we'll get shears in and they put the pivot screw in there crooked a little bit. Or when they drilled the hole for the bumper, it's a little crooked. So sometimes you gotta, watch that kind of stuff. Computer does it, it's perfect. There's not an alignment problem with these shears because the alignment's perfect. You open them up and look at, did you want to pass those around?
Yeah, I was just thinking
Yeah,
that
pass
while
that
we were
around.
talking about it.
If
I'll
you
pass
just
it
open
around.
and close it and look how shiny it is on the inside. It
Yeah,
says-
look at the inside as it goes around.
It's an excellent shear. Now, it's more expensive. It's a $500 shear, $498. Well, for y'all would get it for the low price of $450. So just be aware because you get an extra 10%. Oh, I didn't explain
They
that.
can do 3
On-
payments too.
Yeah, and 3 payments, but on the catalog, did we pass out the catalog? We didn't pass out the catalog.
we
Pass out the catalog.
have been, I got some,
Yeah,
I don't
the
know.
catalog has on there, it has the manufacturer's suggested price on it, then it says take 20% off. So like if it says $200, it means it's gonna be $160, but you as stylists, as students, you get an extra 10% off, so that $200 shear becomes $144 for y'all. So, you get an extra discount.
You'd think we never taught this class before.
You
wouldn't
would
you?
think.
Yeah.
We've only been teaching it for, I don't, long. 20
Modified a
years.
little bit, but for,
About 20 or more years anyway. But, and it's perfect alignment, it's precision, it has a real good feel to it. So you really like that. This is the Rideline, that's the R. Steel, handles, edges, alignment, and Rideline. Right over there on the left, you see the correct home, the correct Rideline. You see that clear line out there, goes around all the way behind the screw. That's the way it's supposed to look. Now these are alignments that are wrong. This one, it disappears in the middle. This one is wide at the end. This one's wide in the middle and wide at the end. So those mean the shear's out of alignment. Sometimes they can come from the factory that way. That's the problem with the Pakistani shears. They're usually 420C instead of 440C. They don't hold their edge and they don't hold their alignment. So a lot of times the shears from Pakistan are out of alignment when you get them brand new. So it's kind of difficult. Now, like I say, we can correct that, but it can, you take the chance of breaking it. The ride line should be shiny and even, and this is where the ride line is. It's on the inside there. And if you take a shear and you move it back and forth, you can catch that ride line in the light, and you can see it going all the way around. That's something you can check when you're buying at a hair show. Check the ride line out, make sure it's even and shiny. Source, that's the last S, and that's where you acquire your shears or get your shears. If somebody comes in your salon trying to sell you shears, they're selling you shears, they probably have a website. They should have a website. You want to check them out, see what's on their website and stuff like that. If you don't see a website, you can always call the company. They're selling our shears. You look us up on the internet, call us and say, hey, I'm talking to Joe Sharpening in Gainesville. Is he an authorized dealer? And we'll tell you yes or no. And you want to read the details about the warranty. Warranties are really, really upsetting to me. Most companies are trying to do their best to get out of fixing your shears for you free. They just don't want to do it. It's like, we just bought a new house and we have a house warranty for a year. They include that. But anything that's wrong with the house, you have to pay $100 to the person to come out to begin with. So, most things you can get fixed for less than $100. So, but anyway, it's the warranties are kind of, a lot of companies will say they have a lifetime warranty against manufacturer's defect, but what they don't tell you, they only cover the screw. Or maybe they cover the screw in the bumper, and that's it. Anything else happens to that, it's not going to cover it. Another company we know of that sells a shear that we sell for $200 that's made in the same factory, they sell it for $600. We had another shear made in the same factory they got shears made from, and then we sold it for $198. They sold it for $1,700. So, they're charging more than what they need to for them. Their warranty says they have a lifetime warranty against manufacturer's defects. You read through their warranty in the last paragraph, it says a manufacturer defect will show up in 2 to 4 weeks. So their lifetime warranty is worth a month. And they also, most of those companies that have lifetime warranty say you have to send it back to them to be sharpened or you lose your warranty. If a company has a very good company, Hikari, excellent shears, but their warranty is only a year. The shears are so good, they'll go a year without having to be sharpened. And by the time you have to have it sharpened, the warranty's already over. So, and they put a lot of pressure on you to always send them back to them. And they usually charge about $50, and the local guy can do it for 30, 35. So
But that's understandable. There's so many bad sharpeners out
yeah,
there.
there is so
It's,
many bad sharpeners.
You can understand why companies will want to have only authorized sharpeners.
Yeah. So we with our warranty, it has a lifetime warranty against manufacturer's defects. We cover the screw, we bumper. If you drop the shear and it breaks, we replace it. We can't fix it, we replace it. Give us a chance to fix it first. And a lot of times it might be out of alignment or something like that. We can fix that. But if when we're fixing it, we break it, guess what? You get a brand new shear.
Do this, it's like before you run. You need to stretch before you run. This is a stretching exercise that helps prevent carpal tunnel, but it's good for your whole body, the stretching. So you gotta humble yourself. So you bend for your waist, wiggle your fingers. Humble yourself. And then you're gonna pray. Now I'm not doing this, I've got it stretched out. Man, yours popped. Mine used to, and that's what happens, see the arthritis. Okay, you're gonna pray.
God, you just scared that poor girl to death.
Stretch out your hand in here. You're a little bit
Like this,
more like this. More like you, yeah, there you go. You're gonna pray, then you're gonna resist the devil. This resisting the devil, you need to do that all day long between every client. Doesn't that feel good in there? And then serve others. So you do that, serve others. Feels good, doesn't it? And then hallelujah, praise the Lord. There we go.
I don't know if you can hear it, but my elbow's cracked.
And you pop all over, don't you?
Oh yeah. I was in theater for 5 years. So.
Snap, crack, and pop, huh? Okay, now we talked about shears. That's what we buy shears. Now, we want you to give your shears a spot treatment after you buy them. Let's take care of them, and that stands for store, protect, and adjust. First thing with storing, you want to keep your shears so they won't be stolen or dropped. You want to keep them somewhere. Put your shears where they can breathe, and also keep them keep state board happy. You can put them in something you can transport them in that you can clean out. This is what's best to put your shears in your case. Because if it drops on the floor, it's padded, it takes care of your case shears. This is something like what state board wants you to use. Because you can open it up. Some people can open it up. Open it up, check out all the hair, sanitize it very easily, put your shears back in there and close it. Now that's very sanitized, but if you drop this, sometimes it'll pop open and your shears go flying. So it's not the best protection for your shears. To satisfy state board, we say go to Walmart or someplace like that and get the dollar pencil boxes, little plastic pencil boxes, and you can put your shears in that and then take them out, dump out all the hair, clean it with some alcohol, and then they're tickled to death. So it's a lot easier than using these. But that you want to be always, when you transport your shears, you want to make sure you have them in some kind of case or something to protect them. You don't want to put them in your purse, just throw them in your purse because you'll reach in there to get your car keys and you may slice yourself real good. We had a guy who was a sharpener and he used to carry a shear in his pocket and he was getting in and out of his truck one time and the shear stabbed him and he didn't realize it. And he had tan pants on like this and he was walking in and he started talking to the lady and the lady got kind of queasy. She says, "Are you okay?" She says, "You're bleeding." And she didn't like the sight of blood. And he looked down there and sure enough, he was bleeding. And he actually cut a vessel, or I got with the artery pump. So anyway, he cut something and it was bleeding bad. They actually took him to the hospital in an ambulance because he was bleeding so bad. They wrapped it around. But that just stabbed him and it was so sharp he didn't feel it go in. So just have to be aware of that. And this is, you want to protect your shears from rust. You want to store them, protect them, and also protect them from rust. That's by keeping them clean, wipe them down and everything. Make sure they stay dry. This is a pair of shears that came to us at a hair show. And as you can see, they had rust on the outside, they had rust on the inside, and they had crud in the middle. So that crud is really bad because it loosens, it makes it hard for you to tighten your shears down and get them adjusted properly. And because it whooshes back and forth every time you open and close your shears. She was able to clean these up and make them look right, but it was, you don't want your shears to look like this. Now your customers will not understand, Hikari or Bonika shears as opposed to something from Pakistan. But they will understand if they look at your shears and they're dirty and they're rusty and all that kind of stuff. It's not a very good impression you'll make with the customers. Because they think if you don't take care of your tools, you're probably not taking care of their hair. So you just want to be careful about that. This is some of the stuff you clean your shears with. You should use a microfiber cloth or a chamois to clean the shears. Always go from the back side, don't go inside to clean it because those edges are sharp and sometimes they'll cut right through the chamois or the microfiber cloth and cut your hand. You wipe them down good. Use 70% isopropyl alcohol or rubbing alcohol. 50% has too much water in it, and 90% evaporates too fast. So 70% is right, stays on there long enough to kill the germs. The best thing for it will be H42. That's a product that's used on your shears and your clippers. It also oils your shears while you're doing wiping them down. Only difference is the alcohol bottle costs about $1 and the H42 costs $20. So as far as getting rid of germs, the alcohol does as good as the H42. But just be aware of that. But they'll kill all the germs. They'll kill the COVID virus and different things like that too. So just be aware of that. And then you want to oil your shears regularly. We have this is one of our oilers. You crank this down, the oil goes to the wick down here. Do a brush there, do a brush on the other side, and you're done. And with a little brush in there, you can actually go underneath the blades and get out some of that crud, and it gets the oil closer to the screw. And as you open and close it, the oil will actually flush out the stuff that's in there. Okay, adjust your shears to the next thing. That's probably one of the most important things we're going to talk to you about because it's going to save you money. A lot of times you will take your shears and you'll say, well, they're not cutting right. Sharpener comes in, you give them to them to sharpen, and all you had to do is tighten the screw, and then cut fine. And the sharpener's going to cost you anywhere from $25 to $35 for sharpening your shears. Most people would rather save $25 than spend it. So, but you hold it by the finger rest. You hold it straight up, form a cross or T, and drop it. If it falls all the way down, that's too loose. It's going to fold the hair. So you tighten it up. Okay, now I had it too tight. That's going to be, it'll still cut hair good, but it's going to cost more pressure on your hand to open and close it. Plus you put more friction on the blade, so it's going to wear the edge out faster. So you want to find a happy medium there. That's what you want. When you let go, it moves. You can move a little bit, move there. You don't want to go too far, but moving like that gets it perfect. That'll help you with your shears.
So everybody get their shears out. You've got your school shears with you, right? So take your shears and make them, do them like what?
Point up, hold the finger rest, and then push them, drop them. Yours are
No, just make it right angles like this and then drop it. Yours is a little tight.
right.
Yeah, so I would loosen it, maybe it'll feel it.
Yours is a little tight.
Yours
is fine over there on the end.
No, watch how he's
Like
doing
this.
it.
Up.
See, he's holding the finger rest is down, and then you make it up. Yeah, there you
Yeah,
go.
see that? Well, that's a little loose. You might want to tighten that up a little bit. Yours are fine.
Yours are okay.
Yours are okay. Yours are okay back there.
I usually drop the
Yeah.
other side because the side of the finger rest is heavier. And I used to tell people, you know, righty, tighty, lefty, loosey, but sometimes it's easier thinking about putting a lid on a jar of peanut butter. So you're gonna turn that way to tighten it, this way to loosen it. So everybody's got theirs adjusted right. Any of you work in hair salons? I say maybe it's head nod. I bet you, if you go through and you check all the shears in the salon, at least 1/4 of them will be too loose. And those men or women or whatever, they're having to use a crab grip to make those shears cut because the screw's too loose and they're overworking their hands. So if you don't remember anything else today, remember that about tightening the screws on your shears. And I would check it at the end of every day.
End of the day, yeah.
Now, if you're having to tighten it up throughout the day, that's a defect, and that should be covered under most companies' warranties. So we had a lady recently with
Yeah.
one of our shears. She said it was either too tight or too loose, and we just sent her a new shear and sent her a label to send that one back.
Okay, these are the different screws you'll see. The first one is a thumb tightening screw. You just use your thumb to tighten it. Usually you'll click and you hear clicks. So you tighten or loosen it one click at a time until you get the proper adjustment. Then you got the one that uses a screwdriver. to tighten and loosen. And then the UFO over here, which is more and more companies are using the UFO screw. It holds real well, but you have to have a special tool to tighten it and loosen it. So make sure if you buy Shear with a UFO screw that you get the tool to go with it.
And there's a bunch of crazy screws out there,
Yeah.
but those are the three most common.
Those are the three most common. Okay, everybody here, how many people like to go on vacation? How many weeks? 1, 2, 3? I said, most people said 2 weeks. Then somebody said 3. I said, okay, you must be an eagle and you're going to get your shear sharpened 3 times a year. But sharpening, you send your shears on vacation, you send them to the sharpener. And usually a shear will be, you need to be sharpened once or twice a year. That's usually all you have to do it, unless you've done something to damage it. You drop them on the floor, put a big nick in them, of course you're going to have to get them sharpened. Or, you know, a kid comes through and cuts through your clipper cord, you're going to have to get them sharpened and move the kid from the wall where he got blown when he sharpened. You felt the electrocution there. Most of your your sharpeners use a grinding wheel. Now this is one that's been sharpened incorrectly. You can see it's got a beveled edge now. You can see that edge very plainly. They heated it up so much on the grinder that they actually burnt the metal. Now burning steel is not an easy thing to do, but it gets up to 600 degrees sometimes on this grinding wheel. Now on the flat hones, we usually spray it with water to keep it cool, so it doesn't never get. And also on the flat hone, we're always touching the blade to keep it down level. So believe me, before it will burn steel, it's going to burn our fingers. So we're going to take it off and spray it with water. So with the flat hone, you don't have to worry about that. Now we can reconvex this and get this edge back the way it's supposed to be. But right here, you've taken some of the Rockwell out. So now it's going to be, this first place is going to go dull from now on. And you use your tips a lot to point cut and stuff like that, so that's a bad place for it to go. The only way to actually correct this would be to take this much metal off that tip and then make that tip the same level. This is my wife. Like I told you, she said we go to a lot of hair shows and stuff like that, and we also go to sharpening conventions. And at the sharpening conventions, there's 2 or 3 of them that have, they certify the sharpeners. And you can be a certified sharpener or you can be a master sharpener. So certified means you passed the test and made a C. Master sharpener means you made an A. So the year my wife took it, she got the highest score in anybody in the country. My wife's a good sharpener. She's the sharpener that sharpeners who can't sharpen something, they send it to her and she sharpens it. If you've seen anything on YouTube, put in Bonika on YouTube and you'll see her. She's got over 500 YouTube videos of her sharpening shears, and that's a lot of what she's doing. When someone sends them a shear they can't sharpen, she takes a video of it, she fixed the shears, and they get to see exactly what she did to fix it. That way next time they can fix it, they don't send it to her. And she sends them the video, and plus she puts it on there, and that's good advertisement for us too. But this is type, like I say, she's one of the best sharpeners in the country. You need to find your sharpener. If he says he's got a lifetime warranty against manufacturer's defects and you can't find him, or even if you want him to come back and sharpen your shears and you can't find him, it's a tough thing. Most sharpeners, most stylists, when you get out there and you say, do you have a sharpener? They may say something like yes. And you say, when's the last time you saw him? They'll say a couple months ago. You say, when do you expect him back? They say, I have no idea. Usually he comes when we call him. Well, if you don't have his phone number or something, you can't call him, and that's a problem. So they should have, nowadays, just about everybody has a website, Facebook page, something like that you can find them on. We have a website. We're on all social media, Facebook. This is the Facebook page here. This is our Instagram page. This is some of the over 500 videos she has. And you can see the different ones there. Like I say, every once in a while at night, I'll be, just before I go to bed or something like that, I'll be flipping through the YouTube things, and this redhead will pop up and scare the tar out of me, and it's my wife. So this is an important picture. This is one of our grandchildren. She's 4 here. She's now 17.
Be 17 in May. 17
in May, yeah. So it's been a while since there. She was going to do career day at preschool, and she went as a stylist. And she has, plastic scissors and plastic blow dryer and all this kind of stuff. Are there any questions for us?
We got questions for them.
If you have any questions for us, fine. We have questions for you. Now we got some prizes we're going to give. We can come up here and pick out. Now, if somebody else picks out the prize you want, we have other prizes. So If somebody picks out a razor, you want a razor, we'll give you another razor.
And we have those for sale
We
if
have
they
them for
don't
sale,
get it.
too.
Did you
Yeah.
tell them what the prices are?
Yeah, don't tell her now what the prices are. The razor, this is a coil comb, and this is the oil.
Okay, you gotta raise your hand. You can tell me what Shear stands for. So only one hand went up? Usually everybody, Nick, okay. Can't look at your notes, flip it over.
Oh,
S stands for what?
steel.
Okay. H stands for what?
Handles. Handles.
Handle. Okay.
Edges, alignment, and rideline, and source.
I hope that was helpful to you. If you want our PowerPoint presentation, that's something we can get for you. And you can tweak it and make it your own. We share this with you with the hopes that you're purchasing our shears, and because we sell our shears wholesale, and we'd like you to be selling our shears to your stylists and in the salon. I know we give out a lot of free information, but it comes back to us, and we're really blessed to be in this business, aren't we, Gene?
Yeah, we enjoy it. If you enjoy something you do and you're not working at all, and we don't work very often, so
Yeah.
every
like
once
it
in a while,
says,
love
what you do.
love what you do. That's right. So thank you very much, and hope you continue to watch all our Bonnie's YouTubes and stuff. She's got a bunch of them on there. So if you want to know something about scissor sharpening and things like that, tune in to her.
Yeah, subscribe and put the like on there. The next video I suggest you're watching is this one right here.
Yeah.